In recent years, the narrative of streams of people illegally crossing the border into Cambodia in search of life-changing dreams has become a painful societal issue, leaving behind persistent consequences. However, behind the dire warnings, high-tech criminal organizations continued to silently sprout like poisonous mushrooms after the rain, mutating with increasingly sophisticated and cruel tactics. One of the clearest and most heartbreaking proofs of this reality is the major case recently dismantled by the police of Lai Chau, Vietnam, in coordination with other forces, peeling back the layers of a transnational fraud ring led by the female mastermind Sung Thi Mai. The case has shocked the public not only because of the colossal amount of money appropriated, but also because of the incredibly young age of the ringleaders, as well as the cold-blooded manner in which they recruited and exploited their own compatriots in a foreign land. The case file begins to reveal the portrait of the leader of this organization, Sung Thi Mai, a young woman of only 26 years old, with permanent residence in Bao Thong Commune, Lao Cai Province. At an age where many are still struggling to find direction for their future, Mai had already embarked early on a path of crime, quickly climbing to the position of operating a large-scale criminal network. Beginning operations in February, a time when online fraud activities in Cambodia were undergoing a powerful transformation, Sung Thi Mai demonstrated a thorough understanding of this underworld. Instead of choosing standard recruitment methods, Mai executed personnel acquisition by purchasing Vietnamese laborers from other fraud companies operating in Cambodia. This act of buying people not only reflects the nature of modern slavery within these living hells, but also reveals the ambition of this border region female mastermind to build her own empire. The people purchased, for the most part, had their identification documents confiscated and fell into a dilemma, forced to obey Mai's orders to survive. Furthermore, Mai actively allied with other criminal groups to expand the scale and share resources, creating an intricate web that was difficult to detect. At her headquarters, Sung Thi Mai did not merely manage personnel, but directly organized the training of fraud tactics in a methodical and professional manner. The scam process was built like an industrial assembly line, targeting the fragile psychology and greed of victims. The scripts were prepared with meticulous detail, ranging from impersonating delivery staff, shippers, to notify victims of fake orders, to masquerading as police or military officers to intimidate gullible people. Notably, Mai's group expanded its scope internationally using the romance scam tactic, targeting the Vietnamese community living and working in Europe. Exploiting the loneliness and need for companionship of expatriates, they created perfect covers on social media, dropping sweet flirtations to lure victims into the trap. Once the prey had taken the bait, they would entice them to invest jointly or participate in virtual trading floors, thereby draining them down to the last penny. The organizational structure of this ring shows a clear hierarchy and deep intervention by foreign entities. According to investigative documents, the entire amount of money scammed after being appropriated from victims was not directly held by Mai's group, but was immediately transferred to the finance department. Significantly, this finance department was largely controlled and managed by Chinese nationals. This detail reveals a reality that although Sung Thi Mai was the leader of the Vietnamese group, it is highly likely she was merely a link, a high-level agent in a larger criminal system operated by foreign kingpins. After the money reached the finance department, they would immediately perform money laundering operations through complex intermediary accounts, making the tracking of cash flows by authorities incredibly difficult. The tight collusion between Vietnamese criminals and foreign gangs created a solid fortress protecting these illicit activities. Delving into deeper organizational operations, the investigation agency clarified the roles of the effective right-hand men aiding Sung Thi Mai, most notably Nguyen Thanh Loc. Only 24 years old, Loc had become one of the most critical links, holding a key role in directly executing the fraud. Loc's recklessness and cunning were demonstrated by a staggering figure. In just a meager 3 months, this subject successfully defrauded and appropriated an amount totaling up to 12 billion VND. This is a colossal sum, representing the sweat, tears, and even the entire fortunes of countless innocent victims. At the investigation agency, Locke confessed in detail to the sophisticated tricks he used to pick the pockets of victims. He often guided prey to access banking applications and search for a section called Finance and Enterprise Features. However, the reality is that official banks do not have this section at all. This was entirely a fake feature fabricated by the criminal group and embedded in fraudulent links or fake applications. The sole purpose of this was to lure victims into logging in, allowing Locke and his accomplices to view account balances and execute money appropriation operations rapidly. The understanding of technology, combined with the ability to manipulate psychology, turned young men like Locke into ruthless money-making machines for the organization. The downfall of Nguyen Thanh Loc did not stop at individual behavior, but triggered a chain reaction, dragging many others into the mire of sin. Seeing that fraud was too easy a way to make money, greed blinded Loc, causing him to turn around and entice his friends to join. One of them was Trung Van Khan, a friend who listened to Loc's honeyed words to find a way to change his life. Khan defied the law, executing an illegal border crossing into Cambodia via minor trails and openings to join Sung Thi Mai's organization. Here, Khan quickly integrated into the fraud cycle, and after 3 months of operation, he continued to invite his girlfriend to come over and work together. The story of Loc, Khan, and Khan's girlfriend is a tragic, vicious circle, reflecting the frightening spread of the get-rich-quick ideology among a segment of the youth. From ordinary laborers, due to a lack of understanding and momentary ambition, they transform themselves into criminals, simultaneously aiding bad actors in harming others and destroying themselves. The victory of the police of Lai Chau, Vietnam in dismantling this ring is the result of a painstaking reconnaissance process and close international coordination. As soon as information was obtained that the subjects showed signs of moving back to the country, the Specialized Project Board immediately cast a net and successfully organized the arrest of several key links. The testimonies of the arrested subjects painted a panoramic picture of the organization's stripping the prey process. They built overlapping scripts, constantly changing so that victims could not react in time. Initially, they might approach under the guise of delivery staff delivering goods to gain trust or collect basic information. Then they would shift to a script impersonating police or military officials to intimidate gullible people to blackmail or demand cooperation in fake investigations. When these aspects were exhausted, or for victims with emotional needs, they would switch to the script of making friends and building romantic relationships online, the romance scam tactic, also known as pig butchering. From nightly whispers and confidences, they skillfully wove in invitations for joint investment, joint business ventures, or even online gambling, causing victims to voluntarily offer up their assets in a state of delusion. Currently, although a number of key subjects were arrested upon their return to Vietnam, the war is not yet over. The police of Lai Chau, Vietnam are continuing to coordinate closely with Cambodian authorities to expand the investigation. The immediate goal is to verify, track down, and arrest the remaining subjects in the special project who are hiding in the neighboring country. According to intelligence, many of them are currently hiding in isolated villas in the Bokor mountain area. This is a complex location, situated separately on a plateau, often chosen by criminal groups as a shelter due to its rugged terrain and difficult management. The hunt for subjects at the Bokor lair is forecast to be fraught with difficulties and challenges, requiring the perseverance and relentless efforts of the police forces of both countries. The case of Sung Thi Mai and her accomplices is a profound wake-up call sent to the entire society. It exposes the cruelty of employment traps in foreign lands where the boundary between victim and criminal becomes more fragile than ever. Young people like Mai, Loc, or Khan, who should have been the future of the country, buried their youth in sealed rooms in a foreign land, enriching faceless bosses with blood money scammed from their compatriots. The case is also a stern warning to citizens to heighten their vigilance against increasingly sophisticated fraud tactics in cyberspace, from strange calls and attractive investment invitations to dreamy virtual romances. The fight against transnational fraud crime continues every day, every hour, and the strictness of the law will be the most emphatic an answer to those who disregard justice and human morality. Thank you for watching this story. If you found it meaningful, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video. And now it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for staying with Societal Stories.